Most people think silver is slow, old-fashioned, something that just sits there while stocks and crypto steal the spotlight. But right now, something big is happening behind the scenes, something quiet, something powerful. A $300 million silver bet has been placed. And it's not random. It's not speculation. It's a signal. And that signal points straight toward a growing economic conflict between China and the United States, with Donald Trump's economic playbook back in focus. This is not about headlines. This is about control. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Welcome to USA Trending News, where we don't chase noise. We track shifts. Oh, and if you want to understand what's really happening before it becomes front page news, make sure you like this video and subscribe right now. It supports the channel, and more importantly, it keeps you informed while others are still guessing. Let's start with the number that should already make you uncomfortable. $300 million. That's not retail money. That's not a YouTube prediction. That's institutional capital moving with intent. And what makes it even more important is where that money went. Not into paper silver, not into leveraged bets, but into positions tied closely to physical silver, the kind of silver that must actually exist. Why does that matter? Because paper silver can be created instantly. Physical silver cannot. It has to be pulled out of the ground. It has to be refined. It has to be transported. And every step in that process is already under pressure. Now zoom out. China has been preparing for this moment for years, slowly reducing exposure to the US dollar, expanding commodity reserves, securing raw materials across Africa, South America, and Asia. This isn't theory. This is documented policies. And silver sits right at the intersection of money, technology, and power. Silver is essential for solar panels, for electric vehicles, for advanced weapon systems, for communication equipment, for medical technology. This is not a luxury metal. It's a strategic resource. And when a country like China increases its grip on strategic resources, it's not for short-term profit. It's for leverage. Whether you support him or not, one thing is clear. His economic approach toward China was aggressive. Tariffs, supply chain pressure, trade confrontation, and the possibility of that approach returning is forcing global players to prepare early. Here's the key insight most people miss. Economic wars don't start with announcements. They start with positioning, quiet moves, strategic accumulation. And silver is small enough, thin enough, that a few large players can dramatically change the landscape without anyone noticing until it's too late. Look at the paper market today and everything seems fine. Prices move sideways. Analysts argue. Traders flip contracts. But under the surface, physical silver inventories are not growing. In some areas, they're shrinking. Delivery times are stretching. Premiums remain stubbornly high. That's not what a healthy, oversupplied market looks like. And here's where things get serious. When physical demand disconnects from paper pricing, the market breaks. Not slowly, suddenly. Because paper prices are based on confidence. Physical shortages are based on reality. Imagine a manufacturer who needs silver for production, not next year, not in theory, right now. If supply tightens, price no longer matters. Availability does. And when availability becomes uncertain, panic buying starts. Not from investors, but from industry. This is exactly how past commodity crises began. Energy, nickel, even semiconductors. First, a few insiders see the problem, then big money positions quietly, then supply snaps. And finally, the public hears about it after the damage is done. That $300 million silver bet wasn't made to chase a price target. It was made to front-run a structural shift, a moment where silver stops behaving like a traded asset and starts behaving like a strategic material. Now think about timing. The world is already fragile. Debt levels are extreme. Supply chains are stretched. Geopolitical tensions are high. Elections are approaching. This is not a stable backdrop. It's a powder keg. And silver is one of the smallest sparks that can trigger a much larger reaction. China understands this. They've seen what happens when resources are weaponized. Energy in Europe proved that. Chips proved that. Food supplies proved that. Silver is next, not because it's glamorous, but because it's essential. And if Trump-style trade pressure returns, the US will suddenly realize how dependent modern infrastructure is on materials it doesn't fully control. That realization doesn't happen on TV. It happens in boardrooms and emergency procurement meetings. At USA Trending News, we pay attention to what institutions do, not what they say. And right now, institutions are not selling silver aggressively. They're securing exposure. They're preparing for volatility, not betting on calm. This doesn't mean silver goes up tomorrow. That's not how these moves work. It means the floor is being built, quietly, patiently. And once pressure reaches a tipping point, price reacts faster than most people can respond. This is why calling silver boring is dangerous. Boring assets move slowly, until they don't. And when physical constraints collide with financial expectations, the result is always the same: shock. So here's the real question. Are we watching the early phase of a physical silver war, or is this just another false alarm? That answer depends on what happens next, and who keeps accumulating while everyone else is distracted. I want to hear what you think. Do you believe China is positioning for long-term control over strategic metals? Do you think a renewed US-China trade conflict could expose silver shortages faster than expected? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Real discussion helps everyone see more clearly. And if this video helped you understand the bigger picture, share it with someone who still thinks silver only matters to collectors and traders. Because once this story becomes mainstream, the advantage of understanding it early is already gone. Stay informed, stay curious, and keep watching USA Trending News.